Can you hear me? Hey, can't hear me, huh? I'm gonna go get some earplugs. I should get some hearing things. Let's see. I'll be right back.
Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me now? This makes no sense. Can you hear me? Hey, Liz, can you hear me? You can hear me, Lisa? Can everybody hear me now? There is sound. We have sound in the building. That is great. That is great. But what we were talking about that probably nobody heard because I was having some trouble with the microphone. Okay, Mark's back. Let me add him in. Can you hear me, Mark? You got to unmute your microphone.
Howdy, everybody.
Hey, can you hear me, Mike? Mark?
Yeah, I'm good. Everything's good.
Yeah. I was having a little bit of technical difficulties.
Yeah, I'm at a strange house. I'm at Evan's dungeon right now, and I didn't know I couldn't work his computer, so I'm good though. Everything's good.
You're in a dungeon now?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Dungeon time. Yeah, it's hump day, and I know everybody probably didn't hear my introduction, but what we're going to be talking about tonight, Chris says, hey, Mark. Hey, Chris, how's the thing going? Vicky says, howdy from Missouri. Welcome, Vicky. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you guys understanding about the sound issue. I was thinking today, I was sitting here thinking, the FBI has the 10 most wanted list of the 10 most wanted fugitives. And you got to be pretty notorious to make that list. And what if our horror icons were real? Which one would be the number one on the list?
When you say number one, do you say the most killers, like the most killing that he's done? So he's killed the most people, or just because he's the most notorious?
Well, I called a buddy of mine that's actually, well, I shouldn't say it like that. I called a guy today that works with the FBI, and I got some information about how they formulate the list. And one of the key things that they look at is whether or not he or she is how big a danger they are to the public. The bigger the danger, the higher up they go on the list. And of course, everybody's on the list is typically a murderer, or they were involved in organized crime. So, it's not just simply body count. It's danger to the public. It's, the scope of their crimes. It's how big their crimes are. Like you would take somebody, and believability would play a factor into it too. Like you take Freddy Krueger, and it's like, could you convince the FBI to add Freddy Krueger if he was real to the list? Because he's supernatural. So like if you went to the police department and was like, there's a guy, he comes to me in my dreams, they're going to do you just like they did in the movie and lock your tail up or give you some sleeping medicine and then you get killed. So I think believability would play a role. Charles says, Sergeant Horror, how are you doing, buddy? Hello, Mark Richardson. Hope all is well. Sherry says hello to you from Kentucky. Hello, Sherry. Angela says, who has the highest kill count? You would think that would be an easy question. Who has the highest kill count? But then you start talking about with remakes, reboots, is the kill count strictly canon for the character? It's nothing simple when you're talking horror, because every time you try to say something, there's so many little things that could go in. Like if you try to do Michael Myers' kill count, if you included the reboot that Blumhouse did, they only recognized the first part. So all those kills he got in all those movies wouldn't even count. It would just be part one, the original John Carpenter movie, and the Blumhouse movie. So even kill count is hard to even come up with that.
Well, who I think has the biggest kill count out of all the monsters, and I'm talking Universal, I'm talking about the splatter monsters, the Invisible Man. The Invisible Man takes out a whole train and kills 121 people in it.
That's true. I mean, but then you got to think about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Sawyer family, and part one, when they're walking to the house and they see all those cars that are there.
That's true.
You don't know how many they've killed, and then look at The Hills Have Eyes. How many people have ventured into the canyon? How many people that canyon? How many people have been subject to those brutal killers?
Yeah.
Maurice says, what's up from Arizona? What's up, Maurice? Lisa said, I love the Firefly fam. I love some Otis Baby and Captain Spaulding. And that's another team that could have a huge kill count, because when you look at how long has Captain Spaulding been running that store? How many generations has Captain Spaulding been selling that fried chicken? How many people have they put in that hole and fed them to Dr. Satan? which I said that wrong. It should be Dr. Satan. You know, I mean, it's how many, you know, it's untold. So even something as simple as trying to figure out a character's kill count can be totally complex and not even be able to answer, you know. Norman says, do your thing, Sarge. What's up, Norman? Norman produces movies with me. Dracula has centuries of killing.
That's true.
That's true.
That's very true. That guy's been killing for thousands of years.
I mean, especially with that little remake thing where he was just like killing everybody in battle.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
if you included that and you said that movie was canon for that character, then he gets it.
They call me Vlad the Poker.
And he'd stick people in them poles, man. That was very intimidating. You got to think, walking onto the battlefield, and you're sitting there, a young soldier, probably came from a small village, got swept up because back then they had, they had a mandatory military service where your village had to give up so many people for the king. And you just this young kid that's never been anywhere but your village, and you're marching on that battlefield, and you see men sticking on stakes dead. You ain't going to want to fight that guy.
Yeah, that war was over there. That's what kept peace in his town. But do you ever hear the story where he took all the extremely poor, basically the homeless, the beggars, and he had a banquet for them, and he put them all in and got them a banquet. And he brought all the basically the eyesores of his village and stuff, and put them in a room while they were eating. They just bolted the place up, burnt it down. He was a piece of shit.
Yeah. And then Corey says the Titanic had a hefty kill count. But yeah, the Titanic wasn't a person, though. It was a machine. I mean, an inanimate object, a boat. Maurice says, how about Sweeney Todd? That's a good one.
Yeah, making pies.
Carlos says, personally, I think the Creeper also had centuries eating people, but he came around. How many years was it every 25, 26 years the Creeper comes out? I don't know. I'm not a huge Victor Salvo fan. Liz, she makes a good point. The cannibal tribe from the Green Inferno. It ain't no telling how many of them people.
Yeah.
And then Vicky says, keep up the great work. Love you guys. We love you too, Vicky, and we appreciate you watching. We appreciate all you guys watching. Y'all guys join in the comments. Who do you think your horror icon that would be the number one on the FBI's most wanted list? Who would it be? Liz says Jaws. I don't know how old how old a shark, because the sharks are about as old as the dinosaurs. I don't know how, Jaws would have been. Vicky says Leatherface. That would be a good one, because if you take and look at the end of part one, the Sawyer family in part two is on the run. That would warrant a FBI. But if it was a local crime, then the local sheriff's department would be able to handle it. It would just be local police. So the crimes have to be, and I know some people say Jason is, Camp Crystal Lake, but nah, he proved to you he'd go to Manhattan. Jason would go to space. So, Jason travels.
When Ed Gein was captured, did the FBI get involved?
I am not sure on that. I think that was handled by the locals, because there is some dispute about whether or not Ed Gein had really had a huge body count, because some of his victims maybe he killed, but a lot of his victims, he was digging up fresh corpses.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I went to Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum in Vegas, and Zach has Ed Gein's pot. And it's set in a room that is a replica of Ed Gein's barn. I really wanted to touch it, but they had it in a glass case. It is amazing. Tony said, Captain Spaulding. I could see the Fireflies being on a bolo, especially when you look at Devil's Rejects, except for the crazy ending on Devil's Rejects. But if they would have made it past that roadblock, they would have been on the FBI's most wanted list because they would have been a national manhunt for the Firefly Fund.
Hell yeah.
But the local police got them. You know, I wish to heck Rob would have just let them go and let the movie end with them riding away to Freebird and not get shot up. And then maybe we would have got a trilogy quicker. But anyway. Angela said, Dracula, centuries of killing, most unsolved, buying properties, maybe there's tax stuff in there, missing persons, child slaying. But if Dracula is, okay, so say we wanted to pick Dracula. How or where is Dracula now? Because if Dracula was still alive, he's not on law enforcement's radar. So he might not make the list.
Yeah, he would be on a lot of unsolved mysteries throughout the centuries. And he would also change his name. He'd be wealthy. When we were in New Orleans, there was like a vampire legend guy who came in there, partied, killed a bunch of people, and just disappeared. And people were, and he was extremely rich. He killed, he had parties. He would kill like probably about 30 or 40 people, and he existed. I mean, this guy had property there and just disappeared. And that's what Dracula would be. He'd just go to a town, party, kill everybody, eat them, and then split.
Now Lisa makes a very good point. How about them good old West Virginia twisted cannibals from Wrong Turn? That could mark being on the FBI list. That could warrant that. The reason why is if you had hundreds of people going missing in that area, these missing persons report would be filed everywhere, and it would signal a pattern if their last known destination was in that area in West Virginia, and the FBI would become involved. But they would have to identify exactly who, because I'm wondering if some of them West Virginia boys in the Wrong Turn, if they're just like inbred, there's some nuclear waste there. That's a pretty scary situation. And I think they got probably about 50,000 of those movies, it seemed like. I mean, Henry Rollins was in one of them. Did you like the Wrong Turn series there, Mark?
I to be honest with you, I only saw the first one. I thought it was good. I mean, it was, exactly what I wanted to see. People getting lost in the country and, and cannibalistic, but they were intelligent cannibals. They went and got them and ate them. It's all good for me. That's my kind of entertainment.
And Vicky says, yep, the awesome killing family of House of 1,000 Corpses. And Jay says, what about Blade? I know it's not technically a horror movie, but you got to look at it, the body count. That's true. I mean, if Blade was going around, well, I'm torn on that, Mark. Because on one hand, when Blade kills a vampire, the vampire's body turns to dust.
Right.
So there's really no corpses for the FBI to try to get. Now,
Yeah.
Stephen makes a good point. Good point, Stephen. The guys from The Den. Have you ever watched The Den, Mark?
Hell no. I got to check that out.
It's a found footage movie where it's all filmed from POV, from interactions like this, webcam interactions. And it's these dudes that go around killing people. It is pretty hilarious. And it's not a low budget. You would think found footage. This is low budget. This movie is a high. I think they spent several $1,000,000 on this, and it shows.
I'm always amazed that stuff like that I don't get on my radar, that goes by me. I have to check that out. Hey, I'm talking about Blade. One of the biggest lawsuits in Hollywood was from that film when they did that disco and the blood starts pouring out on everybody, and they used the wrong blood, and everybody. I think there was like 300 extras in there. Every one of them was stained, and they were stained for months. And so there was this huge lawsuit for the fake blood staining them all.
So they couldn't work. They couldn't work or anything.
They couldn't work, and they walk around with all these blood-stained faces and stuff.
I mean, could you imagine going into a club and everybody's partying and raving and everything, and next thing you know, blood starts pouring down and these vampires start. I'd be like, y'all go turn me. I'm gonna be one of y'all. Y'all ain't gonna feed on me. No. Liz makes a good point. What about Leprechaun?
Yeah, little bastard. He went to space.
He would. Angela says, I can't pronounce that. Saint Germain, the vampire, New Orleans.
Yeah, that was the guy that when we went to New Orleans, that was the guy that they were talking about. He exists there, and they never confirmed he was a vampire, but he killed all these people and he was really rich, would have parties and kill people, and they said that and people escaped. The people that escaped, he did try to drink their blood. He was living off. Yeah, he was a vampire. He actually was drinking people's blood, and he just disappeared.
Liz says Hannibal. Hannibal was, wanted by the FBI in the movies.
Great movie.
Sean says Michael Myers. Well, again, if you had the Michael Myers that had broke out and was just traveling and killing, but I would say based on the movies, on the majority of the movies, anytime Michael gets out, he goes back to Haddonfield. So it's more of a local problem with the Haddonfield PD.
And Michael Myers always kills on Halloween, right? Like, we never had a Christmas episode where Michael. That'd been funny though if he just started saying, "Screw it, I'm just going to do the holidays," and Michael Myers starts going on, like dressing up like Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny, but it's Michael Myers.
I would love it if they did Michael and Jason take Manhattan. And then you have Michael and Jason in Manhattan just slashing up people. That would be pretty cool. But Michael's like a one-track mind.
Yeah.
But it depends, though. Because everything's like there's multiple sides of everything. Depends on what rabbit hole you want to go down. What if Michael Myers is being controlled by the Thorn cult and the Thorn cult sends him somewhere different? Then it could be on the FBI list.
Didn't they try that? Wasn't that 6? Halloween 6, where Michael Myers
together with me. When I watch these movies, what I do is take 2 days, drink a bunch of caffeine, and just binge them all up. And then by the time I get to like 7 and 8, I'm just like, we do a Saw day, do a Friday the 13th day. Oh, man. Liz makes a good point, Norman Bates, but Norman never traveled outside of the Bates Motel that much.
Yeah. Oh wait, I know I don't want to. I got a Norman Bates story. It's a good one. When Psycho 2 came out, Norman Bates, who's the actor played Anthony Perkins? Is it Anthony Perkins? Yeah. He was at the Psycho House. If you took the tram at the Universal tram, if you took it, oh, badass! That's great. That is so cool. That's great. But on the tram, it stopped at the Psycho House, and Anthony Perkins, promoting Psycho 2, came out and handed out stickers for Psycho 2. And the date I was with, asked if she could kiss him, and so he leaned in and she kissed Norman Bates. And afterwards, he looked up at where his mother is supposed to sit, and he goes, "I hope Mother didn't see that." And then the tram drove off. It was like one of the greatest experiences I've ever had, and it was just on the tram. It was just Anthony Perkins promoting his movie, but for Psycho 2.
And everybody watching this, if you would be sure to share it, I need you to share it up, because a lot of times the reason we say that is because Facebook a lot of times won't show this on fans' timelines, and we really need everybody to like band together in the horror community and get the word out. Zane says, "Hey, how are you doing today?" We're doing great, Zane. I hope you are.
Cool name, Zane.
Norman says, "Psycho. We all go a little mad sometimes." I love that line.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
And then Angela says, "What would any of them actually make the government list if the government is behind it all?" Cabinet Woods. That's a good point. You know. And then when we ask these questions like this, there's no right or wrong answer. Feel free to chime in. You know, I mean, it's just, I start thinking one way, and then somebody throws a name out, and I'm like, wow, that would work. You know. Sean says Jason Voorhees. I would agree that Jason could, especially, you know, when he goes from Crystal Lake to Manhattan, and the next thing you know, he's up in space. I mean, Jason.
Yeah, he got around.
I mean, you got to think. Look at part 1, right? Okay, it doesn't have Jason in it except for little baby Jason. Baby Jason don't really kill nobody. But then look at part 2. Jason leaves Crystal Lake, and he goes to that lady's house, and that's one of the best jump scenes. I love that in that movie, when that cat jumps through that window. When I was a kid, that like scared the crap out of me. That was probably the best jump scene in a horror movie ever when I was young. But if she opens that refrigerator and it's his mother Pamela's head's in the refrigerator, I mean, it's like, oh my goodness. I mean, who else loves that scene? I mean, that is an amazing scene. So Jason will travel. So he's not localized. So I think Jason may be the number 1 of the FBI's top 10 most wanted list. What do you think, Mark?
I'm debating all that stuff. It just seems like as much as he does kill, he's not slaughtering people. You know, it just he basically he would definitely be probably in the top 10, but I don't know if he's our guy. I'm not convinced that Jason is our number 1 in the on the hot list, but he's definitely up there.
Vicky says Manson, Dahmer, Gacy. Yeah, those guys would, because they're real serial killers.
Hey, did you know Dahmer would, before he'd have sex and eat his victims, he would make them watch The Exorcist 3 and Return of the Jedi. Those were the 2 movies he made them watch each and every time, and then he'd have sex with them and eat them.
That's crazy. I think one of my favorite Dahmer stories is when he had the victim, I forget his name, and the victim got out and the police had him, and he
brought him back to him. Oof.
Yes. Now Lisa says, how about those bastard werewolf cult members from The Howling? I love that movie. That would be good if they could make the list. You know, I mean, when somebody says werewolves, I'm gonna go off a little bit on a side note. With somebody where it says The Howling, I automatically think that Little Red Riding Hood movie, In the Company of Wolves. That scene where they having the wedding and everybody wolfs out at the wedding. I think that is crazy.
That works. Also in Trick or Treat, I love the party where all the hot little girls turn into werewolves, start eating everybody. That's another good one too.
I just wonder why they didn't ever make more trick or treat movies. It's probably some Hollywood politics bullcrap, but that was one of the few anthologies that were modern day that I actually enjoyed.
I was working on a ABC family show called Switched at Birth, and one of the producers, I was in for. I can't remember. I'm so bad with names, but they told me that there was a sequel coming up, that they were working on it, and that was 5 years ago. So it might be in the works. It's There's no reason not to. It's a successful. It gets successful every year. Just every Halloween. That's one of the movies everybody watches, and it was a fun movie, and it was really well done.
Yeah, and I mean I like Southbound. That was pretty good. And those VHS movies were pretty good as anthologies. We're gonna have to do an anthology night and go over the anthology horror movies because I really like those. Sean says Jason has a high body kill count. I would agree. Jason has a very high body kill count. And Norman says nobody goes harder on this crap than you guys. Y'all own this horror crap. We appreciate you, Norman. I know you prefer to watch Seabiscuit because Seabiscuit. I took Norman ghost hunting with me one time. That was fun. Liz says Chucky. Chucky, I don't know how many kills the serial killer actually had. And then when he went into the body, that'd be worth examining that franchise to see how much of a kill count Chucky actually has. Heather says Exorcist 3 was Dahmer's favorite movie.
Yes, it was.
And Dahmer got killed with the broom closet in prison.
Yep. Good.
And Christina says, hey, Christina, we appreciate you joining in. Vicky says, I would love to see another Trick or Treat. I agree.
Yeah, I like that film. It's a fun film.
And Sean says, how about Freddy Krueger? Well, Freddy, could you convince somebody that Freddy was real? I mean, that was the problem in the movie. I mean, because especially if the local law enforcement killed Freddy or was a part of it, then they would not forward it up to the FBI.
Yeah, that would have been a big cover up because that was the police. That was everybody in town killed that piece of shit.
Yeah, that was a unique movie in the fact that everybody was used to the strong silent killer, and then Freddy come out talking, and he was funny, and then Robert with the hand knives. I mean, it's like
Robert Englund owned that, man. He was, that's the reason why when they made the sequel, the remake without Robert Englund, it's not the same thing.
Yeah,
that guy was a good actor that played the Freddy, but it wasn't Robert Englund.
Yeah, I mean, functionally, the movie looked well done. The cinematography, the lighting, the color, but the makeup on Freddy, it not being Robert Englund, I mean, you can't top Robert Englund's performance as Freddy.
No,
I just don't see it.
Owns it. It's his.
Now, guys, share and let us know. Who do you think needs to be on the top 10 FBI's most wanted list? Who is the most dangerous? And there's one name that hadn't come up. I'm going to throw out here and see what you think, Mark. Okay?
All right.
You ready for it? Pinhead.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think if somebody could convince the FBI to look into Pinhead first?
I don't know. It would be some type of demonic cult that people think. I mean, the guy's a demon. All those Cenobites are demons. So I don't know. That'd be a hard sell. But I mean, everything would be done realistically. They would say he's a guy that obviously is into self-mutilation and goes around killing people. I mean, and is in some type of demonic cult. But yeah, Pinhead's a good one.
And then Dee Snider is Captain Howdy in Strangeland.
Yeah.
But at the end, they kind of insinuate that he's going to burn up. Jay says I was going to say Pinhead, and Norman says we got to film Jason in the Hood, bring more blacks into horror, hit all the demographics.
What would Pinhead's name? Like, they would change him up. What would they call Pinhead in the Hood? I wonder what that would be like.
He says Jason in the Hood.
But they wouldn't call him. They'd give him a much hipper, cooler name. Wonder what they'd call him.
I don't know. I mean, the problem is if he showed up in the wrong hood, he would probably get shot. But because he's zombified, he would keep going. You know, they did Leprechaun in the Hood, and that was very successful with Ice-T in the movie. So
Yeah.
I would love, Cube, if you're watching this, I would love to work with either Ice Cube or 50 Cent and produce a Friday the 13th in the Hood type of movie. I think that would be amazing. I mean, Cube's one of the best writers when it comes to films that I've ever, seen, because I mean, he is a very prolific writer. And I've heard people that are close to him tell me that he's got like 200 scripts at any given time that he's just got on his hard drive waiting to go. But then, some people laugh at that, but then look at what's going on with the Saw franchise. You got the Saw franchise being resurrected with Samuel Jackson and Chris Rock. So that's one of the things with Bad Monster is we love to see more diversity in the horror film industry, but it's a lot of these studios that are just stopping good horror movies from getting made. I mean,
did you ever see Blackula?
Yeah, I've seen those exploitation movies. They were pretty good.
That was a good film. Blackula was badass. Just
I would always want to see Pam Grier as a serial killer in a good gory horror movie.
I would have her as a Van Helsing character. I think her name would be Vigil Auntie. I think she'd go around taking out everybody. I think she would still rock it.
Pam Grier's a pretty woman, no matter at what age.
Yep.
And Sid Haig did 6 films with her. He was the man.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody says Captain Spaulding. I say Captain Spaulding. I love Captain Spaulding. He's my favorite clown. But when you come out and you said, I did 6 pictures with Pam Grier, that's something to brag about.
That's right.
Angela says, the Juggernaut in 13 Ghosts, he was a serial killer before dying and continues to kill as a ghost. That's a good point.
Yeah, 13 Ghosts is a good movie. There's a good remake. 13 Ghosts was a good remake.
Jay said, damn good on that on Sarge. Yep, I appreciate that. Sean says Pin Dog would be the name they would give Pinhead in the Hood.
What, Pin Dog? What did they call him?
Sean says Pin Dog. Yeah, Sean's a talented director out there in LA. Shot some stuff with him for him here recently. We're gonna start doing. We got a lot. I mean, you would not believe. They would not believe when they marked the stuff that we got in the works for you guys to on madmonster.com, on YouTube, on Facebook. I mean, we're gonna start showing independent spotlights and spotlighting independent movies because we know the struggle that filmmakers go through just to get their work seen. We want to give those guys a good voice. Norman said that would kill it. Yeah, Ice Cube, you got Cube Vision. Hit me up, Cube. You got my number. Either that or 50 Cent. 50 would be a good executive producer to bring on because he just did Power, which was a hit Stars deal, and then he's got a multi-picture deal with Stars, and then he's got a deal with ABC. Sean says, how about I can't pronounce that. I'm Hoppa,
Oh, yeah, the Mummy.
the Mummy. Depending on what version of the movie you go with, that's true.
Hotep. Bubba Hotep.
Liz said Jigsaw. Jigsaw could if he'd expanded more, and what he was looked after by the FBI.
Yeah, I was.
You know, that's a movie. Marcus Dunstan did a great job writing those. I really enjoy Marcus's work. I wish they would have let him direct more movies. He did The Collector, The Collection, and now he's got The Collected supposed to come out, but due to COVID-19, we don't know when that's coming out. But jump on that. And he's got the movie The Neighbor, which is really good.
Yeah, I was supposed to work on The Collector, but I was working on another show and I couldn't do it, and I wanted to. I wanted to work on that.
Norman said, "Ain't nobody messing with Pinhead. I'm gone if he come through to gun down." Tyler says, "Probably Freddy. If we could convince him that Freddy's real, Freddy would be good. But if the local cops are in on it, that's going to be challenging getting Freddy even on the list." And then Vicky said there is an old movie from the 80s called Hunter's Blood about the poaching hillbillies in the deep woods of Arkansas. Great movie. Die-hard hunters go against these guys. I think I've seen. I'm going to have to check that out. Jay said, "What about the guy in Jeepers Creepers Sport Demon, should I say?"
Yeah.
Lisa said, "They have to look for art from Terrifier, I think. That's a good one.
I'm a big fan of Art. I think I think he's one of probably the creepiest killer clowns out there.
Really?
I like Terrifier. Really? I like him.
You think Art is the best killer clown out there?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I think Terrifier is one of the best killer clowns.
You really think Art the Clown is the best killer clown out there?
Besides you?
Thank you. God, no.
Sorry, Sergeant.
You go put Art over me.
Where's your movie? Where's your goddamn movie? Where's your movie? Well, we got to start doing stuff with you. You got to start doing some stuff in there. You got to
right here for the people at Mad Monsters for all the fans.
Let's do it. Let's next convention. Let's shoot a short with you. I'll bring the props. Let's write something and do something.
We could.
Well, let's do it. We're going to do it. I will. I promise you. I'll prop it out. I'll come up with some stuff.
Yeah. Liz said Chrome Skull. That's a good one.
Yeah. You know my story. You know my story with Chrome Skull, right?
No, tell it.
My assistant was Nick Principe, and I got a job with on Killer Pad with Robert Englund. Robert Hall was doing effects. He goes, "Hey Mark, come and do props with me." And I go to Nick. I go, "Hey Nick, I'm going to be doing a Robert Englund film. Come be my assistant." He's love Nick, not the greatest assistant in the world, but I introduced Nick to Rob Hall, and that's how he got Chrome Skull. I totally hooked him up got him together, and that's how he got that part. That's how Chrome Skull came about. He was my assistant on a film.
Wow.
One of the funniest things though, there's a scene in Killer Pad where we used a taser, a cattle prod, and I had just got it, and they dropped it off, and it was charged and ready to go, and it's a long staff, and I thought the cattle prod only shocks you at the very tip, but the entire shaft shocks you. So I'm holding the shaft, and I hit the button, and I get the shit shocked out of me, and I can't move. I cannot move. And Nick comes walking in the room, and I'm standing there frozen because I've been electrocuted. And he goes, "Oh, cool, a cattle prod." He takes it and does the same exact thing. we stood there staring at each other, not being able to move because we both shocked the shit out of ourselves on Killer Pad. But there's a Nick Principe story for you. It was pretty funny.
You lost me and I was holding the shaft.
Sorry. Electric shaft.
Good times. Sean says, how about the Invisible Man? Mark brought that up earlier, and that's a very good point. Angela says, Patrick from the book and movie It, he killed his baby brother and because he didn't think he was real.
Yeah, Pennywise comes back every, 6 years or whatever? I can't remember, and kills everybody.
Jay says, hell yeah, Sarge, you need your own movie. We
Yeah.
might do it, but only if everybody that watches our live feeds come out to Mad Monster and be in it with me. I think that's only right. If we shoot something, they got to come out and we hang out and just party it up and shoot something.
I'm serious. I'll write something up. We should write something up. I'll get the props. We'll throw some guns in it, some blood in it. We'll make it work. We'll shoot some. And all the fans of this podcast that shows up at Mad Monster, we'll put you in it, and we'll make it happen. And we'll do like a 10-minute short. It'd be badass. I promise.
We'll try to do it. Vicky says, please do look up The Hunter's Blood. I have an old VHS tape, but it works. I'm making a note of that right now, Vicky, because that's what I love about doing these things is because people come up, you guys have the best suggestions on stuff, and I'm constantly looking for stuff to watch because a lot of times I feel like I got 100 channels and there's nothing on, Liz says, hashtag Sergeant Horror Movie. I appreciate it, guys. You guys are too kind. They might want to find parents from the parents, low-key, under the radar, subtle mid-century cannibals. Randy Quaid, nobody suspected. That's true. Randy Quaid is a scary-looking guy to me.
Yeah. I think I like him a lot better than Nicolas Cage.
Jay says he's there. That's the thing. Coming October, y'all come hang out with us. I mean, we'll shoot some stuff.
We're going to do this. It's going to happen, folks.
Vicky says the three brothers in the movie House of Wax. That's a possibility. Sean said it's not horror related, but the Joker would definitely be on the FBI's most wanted if he was real.
Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah, I just can't decide which Joker I like best. I guess it depends on the day of the week, I mean, but for 2019, in my opinion, the best horror movie of 2019 was Ready or Not. That was very well done. And we were just hurting for horror in 2019. In 2020, we're still hurting for horror. There really hasn't been anything that just blew my socks off. I mean, has it been anything this year that have blown you guys' socks off just crazy good that came out this year?
There's a movie coming out on Netflix, and it's a friend of a friend that directed it and wrote it. And the guy's been trying to get movies going forever, but it's coming out on Netflix, and it's a demon hunter movie, but it's called Warrior Nun. Look out for this. I think it's going to be really good. I only saw the trailer for it. My friend called me and goes that they'd been working trying to get us off the ground, and they got it off the ground. So I think Warrior Nun's going to be I'm hoping it's going to be a good one.
Angela says the brother and sister from People Under the Stairs. That's possible.
Yeah, that was a good one.
People Under the Stairs. That's a very underrated and forgotten movie, and to some people's eyes. I did want to let everybody know real quick. I know I'm kind of all over the place, and that happens because it's Wednesday, it's hump day, and it's one more day closer to the weekend. But madmonster.com, be sure you go there. We got some great stories on there. We had Mad Monster's own Peter Morton sat down with the director of The Changeling. and did
Wow, Peter.
and has some great insight into the movie The Changeling. I mean, it's amazing. We also got some great articles about comics, analyzing the horror elements in Spider-Man. We got some lists. We got some Mark stories on there. We need more Mark stories, though, Mark.
I'm working on it. I got some stuff for you. Hey, I'd just like to add too, you guys, everybody watching this, and thank you so much for watching this stuff. Mad Monster is a horror community. It is. There's so many tools out there, so many douchebags that are in unfortunately that's become part of the horror community. Mad Monster is not that. Mad Monster is, there's a reason why Sid Haig hung out with us. There's a reason why you go to Mad Monster and Bill Moseley will come and have sit down with you and just start talking to you at the dinner table because we're a community. We love horror movies. We're not horror snobs, but we're not dicks to people. Come on, just be part of Mad Monster. Let's be. I can't. Obviously, to be painfully honest, I'm a Mad Monster bitch. I've been one forever. I don't work for Mad Monster. I've just been around it forever. I just want to say that, support, if you want to support horror films, support Mad Monsters. All right? Thanks.
Yeah, I appreciate that because we're here to support you guys. I mean, I know a lot of people sit back and go to work and might sit in a cubicle and don't have anybody to talk horror to. And if you don't have nobody to talk horror to, come out here and hang out with us and we can talk. That's what a family's about. There's no wrong answers. We're here to discuss it. And I mean, if you got bad taste in horror movies and you don't like Texas Chainsaw Massacre like I do, I'm not going to bite you here at all. I like discussing it. I'm a firm believer that horror fans love discussing horror movies, but not in a mean way. I've been meaning to get into like some of the Marvel and DC movies, but when I ask people about it, they're like, they get crazy over that stuff. So we're working on getting some guys on here to give me some expert advice on which are the best Marvel and DC movies. We're doing horror. I mean, we got a lot going on. Check out the website. I got some amazing stories. I was hanging out with Bill Moseley before we did the live feed. I called him when we were talking. I got a great scoop on a great story for Bill Moseley. We're going to have that on there tomorrow. So check it every day. And if you guys are sitting out there and you want to write for Mad Monster, we are always open for people to submit their stories. We want to include as many voices as we can in the horror community because everybody's got an opinion. And if you want to articulate that opinion and put it down, or if you got a film project coming out and you want to write me a story on that, feel free to write us a story. Email it to submit@madmonster.com. I'll leave the email address up there a little while. Don't email me and say, hey, write a story about my stuff. I want you to email me your story. I want to hear what you guys got to say.
So we've never really figured out who's going to be our number one for our top 10 on our top 10 list. We got a lot of good killers, but you're not I'm not satisfied. You're not satisfied with who our number one killer is.
I'm voting for Jason because he travels. At first, I was coming into this thinking the Firefly family, but I don't count Three from Hell as part of that movie because you don't have three without Sid Haig. So
I
scrapped the Three from Hell. I love you, Rob, but I scrapped Three from Hell.
Yeah.
But I think Jason is our best bet. Is my best bet. That and the cannibals up in the mountains of West Virginia are the two that I think the FBI would actually want to figure out what's going on. What's your thoughts, Mark? What do you think? Who do you think's number one?
I think it's going to be somebody more of political power that's going to kill an abundance of people. I think it's somebody that the number one person would even be past the FBI. because he's so suave, he's so clean. I'm 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 not positive, but I'm starting to think of the Omen. Here's the guy that becomes the president, becomes the Antichrist. I wonder if there was somebody checking up on this guy. It seems like he kind of was just going to start destroying the world, and nobody was looking at him. I don't have a name. I wish I could come out and say blatantly it is, but I don't know. I think it's going to be somebody of some significant demonic evil power that's going to kill thousands of people. I don't know. That's my take on it. I'm gonna have to think about this. Maybe next time we meet up, I'm gonna go, I figured it out, because I've been putting a lot of thought into it, and I don't know who it is. I think Jason is definitely in the top 10. I think Michael Myers is in the top 10. I think our boy, the Invisible Man, who killed just hundreds of people took out a train, it's and it was Claude Rains. Claude Rains is a brilliant actor, and I love him so much in that movie. And you have to go back. I mean, that was 40 something that he did that. Um,
I just thought, what about the guy from American Psycho?
Yeah, but I still don't know if that fucker actually did it, because this kind of thing where you don't know if it's all real.
He could have just been off of his meds.
Yeah.
Got a couple of questions in here. Heather says hostile movie killers. That could be if they came to the U.S., but they were in some obscure European company.
Right.
Angela said the president character during the Purge films.
Yeah, the Purge.
Sean wanted to know what my thoughts are on Insane Clown Posse. I listen. I mean, I don't really have any heartfelt feelings about it. I like the Juggalos that follow Insane Clown Posse. I like some groups that are associated with them. My playlist is just crazy. I have like the Doors, the Grateful Dead, NICP, 50 Cent, Wu-Tang, Migos. I mean, Jim Jones, Mike Jones. I had a song come on him. I mean, Eric B. I mean, I have just a weird list. Nirvana. I don't really like Metallica as much as I used to. Slipknot. I'm really ticked because I had Slipknot tickets and they canceled the concert. It was supposed to be today.
Let me do a shout out to me. My stage name is Marky Desaad. My first band was a band called the Hypnotics. If you look up Indoor Fiends, that was our first album, the Hypnotics. This is horror rock before horror rock. We were before the Misfits, and I was doing horror rock. But go on YouTube and look at Hypnotics, Indoor Fiends, and check out my drunk punk band 647F. All these bands that I were in was always into horror. I've always carried horror with my on my shoulder when that stuff. But I've worked for ICP. I did a Night of the Chainsaw for them, and I was the production designer, and I'm in that. And I also did a fan film for them. But I definitely like ICP.
Huh. So let me see something here.
Hey, Sergeant, what's your favorite jump scare?
The Friday the 13th when the cat jumps through the window.
That's your favorite? Okay. I think mine's still going to be Alien when the thing comes out of the pod.
Now look at there. Do you guys notice? Does this sound? Does that look familiar, Mark?
What is it? Yeah, that's me. Hey, that's me.
Tired of music, sick of the sound. So I turn on the TV and I switch some channels around.
There's a young Marky Decide there.
Oh, honey, John, well, what went wrong? George takes back that fucking thing. Just fire up, let me grab hold on. George has said nobody went wrong. Well, accidents, bombs, bombs, guns, earthquake, electronics, fires, bears, aliens, income, life, robbery, salvation, tax cuts, battles, and wars. Love story, you're so boring. Johnny Brown is an active man. Big John, sick little man. Dixie flatness, follow Moses.
Now, this is the reason why I am. If I just beat myself. There it is. That's 1980, early 80s punk rock, folks.
That was smart. That was good.
Yeah.
Freaking rock and roll, man.
Fucking punk rock.
Punk rock. That was good. You need to perform that. If I'm going to do a short, you need to do some music for it.
All right. I'll do a Sergeant Horror music song for you.
It doesn't have to just be Sergeant Horror. It can just be about Mad Monster. I mean, we can just have like a jam for all the fans one night, just be out there partying and drinking a beer, talking about horror movies.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Jay said The Predator. The Predator would be good.
Yeah, they went around killing people, hunting people.
Billy wants to know that have you heard of Angry Johnny and the Killbillies?
I've heard of the Killbillies. I didn't know that was the name, but I've heard of
He
Killbillies.
says look them up. I like Fugazi.
I played with Fugazi back in the day.
What?
Yeah, I played with Fugazi in San Francisco. They're good. They're a great band. They're a real band, real musicians.
Like Stepping Stone. Hey. You ever heard that? I'm sorry. I like it.
You know, surfing competition and playing punk rock, the best part for a fanboy like me is I get to play with, like I get to play with the Dickies, or I get to surf spots that that only three guys, you'd be in the finals and be at, Huntington Pier and be the only three people out. That was the best part about doing those things. You have the luxury of hanging out with your, people that you really dig, or surfing places with not 1,000 people out there. That's the reason why I did that stuff. I loved it. I still love doing punk rock.
Have you ever watched a movie called Green Room?
I like Green Room.
That was a pretty good movie.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you have Picard as a skinhead. I like it.
Don't have lyrics in here, so Josie and I.
Anyway, let's go back to the FBI list. I think this is a debate that we need to continue. If anybody's got any ideas or who they think, comment on the video. We're going to go back and relook at this from time to time as movies come out. I think Art the Clown is definitely a good one. He's your second favorite clown, right, Mark?
My second.
Okay.
And I will never make that mistake again, Sergeant. But we got to get you. We got to get you. We got to get you in front of the camera, sir. We got to get you doing some movies. I'm trying to get something for Evan right now. I'm trying to get with. I worked with the director and writer of Blair Witch, and he's looking for projects. And I got something that Evan had written that I'm trying to push on him, and we're in slight talks right now. I'll see if we can get something going with him.
Yeah, I like the original Blair Witch. That was a great inspiration for a film that I did. In fact, I'm we'll talk about that later on. But I mean, the Blair Witch, when he's standing in the corner at the end, that was a good one. And if enough kids went missing in those woods, I don't know if the FBI could be called in
That's true.
for the killer of the woods. I mean,
I got to be honest with you. Didn't care for it because the hype was so big. When I saw it, I wasn't happy with it. But after I met and worked with the director, I fell in love with him, and then now I like Blair Witch because of him. Once it's funny because you like the guy so much. I go back and okay, so I was kind of a dick about it. But yeah, I there is, and plus it was the first of the found footage. They had a lot of balls to do that, and so. But I really like the director of that movie.
well, I appreciate you joining us, everybody. If you guys, like I said, if you could think who should be number one on the list on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted, chime in. Be sure to drop us a comment, subscribe to our channel, and just let us know. I mean, any last words from you, Mark?
I really need to be more professional about this. I need to come up with some like great last words. But a thing on my Facebook showed up when I was working on Power Rangers. It wasn't Power Rangers. We were in between seasons, and we were doing a show called Cybertron. And Jason Frank, who was the Green Ranger, and he ends up being the White Ranger. It was a vehicle for him. And it's a quick story. I'll try to spit this out, folks. We were in San Pedro, and they have this Korean friendship bell. It's this huge bell, and the monks, Korean monks, take care of us. And we were shooting this thing, and one of the main things was we couldn't touch the bell. It's a shrine. It's a monument, and we had to be very, very professional around this bell. So we put caution tape around it, but we also had extras in a holding area right there. And the extras, we had a craft service table, and around 10 o'clock, because San Pedro's right next to the ocean wind starts blowing in, and all the extras, craft service, napkins and paper plates and stuff, goes flying under this bell. Well, we have a PA who's a production assistant, and we have these headsets that they wear. And he was responsible for cleaning up and making sure the extras didn't touch the bell. He sees all this trash under the bell, and he thinks that the monks might be offended. So he jumps under there, and he starts cleaning up under this bell. And the AD, the assistant director, comes out while we were shooting and sees this PA under the bell where we were not supposed to be. And he gets on the walk, and he goes, "Hunter, get the hell away from there." And the PA jumps up, and he hits with the back of his head the bell, and the bell goes gong. And he's like trying to get his balance. I mean, he almost knocked himself out. And the monks run up to him, and they're helping him. And I'm standing there, and I was handing out extra props, like it was supposed to be like tourist cameras and stuff to the extras. And we're standing there as these four monks are taking a Hunter away from the bell. And one of the elderly extras turns to me and goes, "Who is that man?" And I go, "I don't know, but his face rings a bell." That's my story for today, folks.
I think I might want to be a Power Ranger one day. That'd be Lisa said, "Yeah, where's my mouse?" Lisa said, "Good chat. This was fun. We appreciate you, Lisa. We appreciate you, Billy." Jay says, "Was fun. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Jay. Y'all got to be sure to follow the page. Subscribe." Liz says, "Always a good show. Till next time, gentlemen." And you guys, emails at the bottom of the page. If you know a friend that writes that wants to submit, hey, we got an open platform for people that want to submit some quality horror products for us to share.
Hey, folks, I'm sorry. If you have a cool little short that we could do with Sergeant Horror, because I want to shoot something at the Mad Monster, start coming up with ideas and stuff and get it in it to us. Because we want to write a little short there, okay? Just FYI.
Okay. And let me know if you guys. I really appreciate everybody joining in and watching. It's Hump Day. The weekend's almost here. Be sure to check madmonster.com. I'm going to have some recommendations on some movies you're going to need to watch this weekend to help the weekend pass by. Stay tuned on the channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you get a chance. We're on Twitch. We're on Facebook. We're all over the place. I appreciate you guys watching. In the meantime, watch more horror movies. Y'all take care. Sergeant Horror, Mark, we're out. Thank you, guys.
Stay creepy, everybody.